Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Arkansas Gun Guy. Today, my first interview with a Border Patrol agent who over the past 10 to 20 years has carried two guns, the Glock 47 and the HK P2000, which this is not. HK fans already spotted that. This is a placeholder. This is actually a USP, Chamberlain 40 Smith & Wesson. There is a tragic reason that we have a placeholder instead of the P2000 here. And we'll talk about that at the end. Also at the end, I'll ask him which gun of the two he would prefer. So, to get started, like, I'm kind of a gun nerd, right? I studied the specs, look at all different things. You don't really nerd out on guns like I do you?
No, I just shoot them and carry them.
Shoot them and carry them, use them for work. Now, what is your favorite kind of gun to shoot? Like, do you like revolvers or like SIGs?
Probably a 1911.
All 1911s, all right.
And the Glock is fun to shoot too.
Okay. Now, you have had the Glock about 2-ish years?
Probably two years.
Two plus years, okay. And the P2000 you carried for over 10?
Right, probably 13 plus years.
About how many rounds did you get through the H&K, you think?
Probably over 20,000.
Wow, okay. More than I'll ever shoot from any of my guns. And how about the Glock?
I'd say right now maybe 1,000 to 1,500.
1,500. Okay, so you haven't shot this guy as long, but you carried this guy a lot longer, right? Any failures from either one ever?
Nothing that wasn't my fault, being dirty magazines or the gun just being full of sand or something. But from the gun itself, no.
Okay. Now, what was your? See if there's anything here. Do you have a favorite thing about the H&K?
Hated the trigger, but I love the
what trigger did you have? Okay, that's a good question. What trigger did you have? You had the LEM trigger?
I did.
I forgot to call that out. And you carried 40 Smith & Wesson too, right?
40 Smith & Wesson.
And this is a 9mm. I meant to ask that early on, but sorry, you didn't like the trigger, you said.
I didn't like the trigger, but I did like the way the slide release was.
Okay.
Underneath the trigger to where you can do it with either your
the mag release.
Mag release.
Yep.
Sorry,
yep.
mag release.
Yep. The paddle release is one of my favorite things about H&Ks because I'm a lefty and you can work either way. So you like the mag release here. How about the Glock? Anything you like about this piece of plastic? Kidding.
There's a lot. I like the way it shoots.
Okay.
It's set up for ambidextrous slide release too. It's got a bevel magazine well on it. Again, it's just little things that makes it easier to shoot than the H&K. The H&K felt kind of sloppy in a way, kind of rattle around a lot. The fit and everything with it. The Glock is a little tighter right now. But
really?
again,
I would have thought. I always heard the Glock's kind of loosey and it'll fire everything. That's interesting.
Could be tighter, but after 20,000 rounds, things tend to loosen up. But overall, I'm glad we went with Glock.
So you if I had to ask you which one are you going to choose, you would choose which one over? You're going to make some people mad. I know the answer already. You would choose the Glock over the H&K?
I would.
How come?
It's just for one, it's 9mm now. It holds more rounds. It's easier to shoot. The trigger, granted, we can't change the triggers on them, so the trigger that comes with the Glock is a hell of a lot better than what was with the H&K. The reset on the H&K, you had to let it out. Felt like 3 inches before and then you had to pull it back in felt like a mile before you would get to the actual trigger part of it. So the Glock, you just barely move your finger and it resets. And you don't have to pull it back in to take any slack out of it to shoot again. And
we talked beforehand. Another thing you mentioned was kind of the grip angle was different between the two, right? This grip angle fits you better, or is it more natural draw for you?
It is now. Whenever I first transitioned over to it after shooting H&K forever, whenever I first held the Glock, it felt like I was pointing the front sight up in the air, just naturally how I was used to holding a gun. And you kind of have to cant your wrist down and lower the front sight post on it. But it's natural now. I don't think anything of it now whenever I draw.
And I forgot one last thing before we close. The reason we have a placeholder here for the P2000 is because when your gun was retired, did you get the option to keep it and buy it?
I didn't. Nobody did.
Nobody did. They went to a museum, right? No. What happened to them?
They get destroyed.
Destroyed. Heartbreaking. Oh my God. So that was one thing I want to make sure I got on camera. So this is why I have the placeholder here. The P2000, fantastic gun, I think, was destroyed. But the Glock you're very happy with, and that's awesome to hear. So thank you for doing the interview. Thank you for all you do, by the way. You've got like a really hard situation with your job. So really appreciate you do. And thank you guys for watching me.